Ya. Ya, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Today we are going to discuss about the seminar of international seminar. I'm sorry, it means in this session we have one person or one speaker. Her name is Miss Fika, and this is the curriculum vitae of Miss Fika. All right, at the first, it here about the education. I'm sorry, I mean educational background. First is he has English Literature Bachelor from STBA or Yapari Aba Foreign Language School Bandung. And then she continue her study Master of Management of Education at Pasundan University Bandung, or we call UNPAS. Okay, and now he has been working and teaching experience about 150 digital tools for interactive learning. Then share passion, inspiring spirit, 65 articles on reflection on learning during a pandemic. Okay, and this is an experience from her, the facilitator on EDP or Educational Development Project at 2007, Fund Reading Strategies for Developing Engagement and Critical Thinking at 2020, and Maximizing Class Kick for Assessment at 2022. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Miss Fika Tresnawati. Time's yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Widi. First of all, I would like to thank to this opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for introducing my profile, Pak Widi, or Mr. Widi, sorry. I would like to share about assessments and differentiated assessments. But first, I would like to share as well, what is actually assessments? According to Ebel, in 1972, it's about evaluation. So assessment is an evaluation process that collects the results of student learning. And then according to both Cohen and Sampson in 1999, and also Liu and Carles in 2006, evaluating isn't the same as giving grades. It's more than just assessing, and then evaluating can also be used to guide the students on the right path. A good evaluation practice makes students learn and decide on their performance in relation to certain goals. And then assessment as well, it's not only about grades, but also the constructive feedback to give improvement for the students, and also to show the academic standard to what the students can achieve. And now, what does differentiated mean? So differentiated means it's about the diversity among students. As we know, there's no students are the same. Each of the students have different, they are unique. They have different hobby, different talents, different interests. So that is why we need to differentiate the students, because they have the diversity. And then differentiate also means the differences and similarities between students that influence learning and teaching. And also those differentiate accept diversity among pupils as a starting point. And also perform the student-oriented evaluation that is on the aspect that is relevant. And then the last one, differentiated testing comes in all shapes and sizes. So different shape, different sizes. And then we have here the key components of assessment. The learning outcomes. For the learning outcomes, a measurable learning outcomes that to be assessed. First of all, we should know the learning goals of what students need. So we have to see, and then the student can clearly state the knowledge, the skills, the attitudes, and competencies that they want to learn. Usually, in my class, based on my experience, I ask the students to think about what is their learning goals, and I usually give the access for them to write in this what is it, spreadsheets, yeah, the learning goals. So for example, student A, student B, and student C, all of them have different learning goals. So for example, for student A, his learning goal may be about vocabulary or working more on grammar to improve his language. So for example, I have all these I have all the students learning goals here, but they only have one document only for themselves. So they only need to write on their spreadsheets, like for example here, they can only write, for example, their learning goals would be vocabulary. And then what are the strategies they would like to do to improve their vocabularies? So, sorry, this type. So for example, the strategy I would practice every day and add at least 3 new words each day. That's for example. So whenever they write here, they need to see what is the targeting time for them to reach that that learning goals. For example, in 2 months or 3 months, yeah. So within this this time, they can practice, they can add words, and then they can also identify when can they ready to be assessed, yeah. And then we will see the improvements between Q1 to Q4 and see the progress. So this is based on their learning goals. But of course, we have to we have to know the academic standard as well. What kind of requirements that the students need to achieve. After that, after he wrote here on this spreadsheet, me as a teacher can see here all of the students all together. So the learning goals is confidentially between each students, but the teacher can look every student's learning goals only in one spreadsheet. That's the example, the experience based on what happened in my class. And then the next one, the task. For the task, we have to know that what kind of task that will provide the evidence. And then as a teacher, it is up to you or up to us to choose the most appropriate assessment for the subject matter. For instance, for example, if you decide that verbal assessment, for example, you might offer a dramatic play, role play, a speech, or demonstration, or presentation, or a motion graphic. So it depends on the task, but we have to make sure that the instruction is really clear for every student. And then response format. The response format is analyzing the result of the outcomes that assess. It can be multiple choice, oral presentation, or maybe about writing essays. So this is about how the students can illustrate their learning through different assessment or through different media or method that they can deliver to show that their learning outcomes. And then the last one is evaluation system. Evaluation system, it has to be related to the standards. So each school has different standards, so it has to be related to the standard. And then they have something to improve the learning, and then to determine the achievements. And then after that, they have to adjust and improve programs following the results of the learning outcome that is being assessed. And then the next one, the authentic assessment. Okay, according to Madeline Weimer, PhD, so she mentioned about how realistically it's contextualized about the assessment. And then the authentic assessment requires judgment and innovation. And then in here, how the students can use their knowledge and skills to solve problems. And then what about asking students to do the subject? Means they can use their knowledge as a professional in the field would use it. And then after that, it's replicates key challenging situation. Students need to experience what it is like to perform tasks like those in the workplace and real life context. And then students assess the student's ability to efficiently and effectively. So it means the knowledge and skills negotiate a complex and multi-stage task. So which one is efficient and effectively to show more of learning from the students. And then the last one is appropriate opportunities to rehearse, practice, consult resources, and get feedback from the performance and the products. So from that, the students or teacher can see where the level of students, the level of skills that the student have. And this one, why differentiate? As we can see, students are different. They are unique. They have different interests. They also have different talent and skills. So that is why with differentiate the assessment, the teachers can help diverse students to successfully demonstrate their competencies in particular ways that are fitting and effective for them. And also, differentiate assessment can guide teacher on how they can differentiate, modify, and improve instructions. And also provides more opportunities for students to effectively demonstrate what they have learned. The teacher also they are able to meet the students' individual needs and help them to be successful in their learning. And then the last one, the quote from Carol Ann Tomlinson about the differentiated classroom. The differentiated assessment can develop an environment that invites people to learn. Differentiated assessment. So differentiated assessment is an ongoing, so it never stops. And then process-oriented. So differentiated assessment focus on the process more than the result. And then differentiated assessment allows for all kinds of output. So so the output not for all the students. They don't just give the same result, but they can also express themselves with different output. It doesn't have to be all of the same color or all of the same shapes or the size. Any output or any result, it will be acceptable because differentiated assessment facilitate the learning, yeah, or the result of each student's uniqueness. And then provides feedback. So the feedback, it also can be given with the process, along the process. So the feedback is not only at the last part of assessment or the last semester, for example, but the feedback can also when they are doing the assessment, because it can be a project, and how do they do the project, how independent they are, and then improve learning quality. So if they learn and they engage in the process of assessment, they can improve the learning quality. By that differentiated assessment, they realize that whatever their goals, whatever whatever the learning outcomes they would like to have, they can see whether they improve the learning quality or they will stay the same. So the students really involved in the result of the learning. And then here are some of the differentiated assessment examples. The first one, we have digital tools. The examples are, we can use motion graphics, Classic, Quizlet, and etc. So for digital tools, it's very easy for nowadays because of the pandemic. The learning tools for digital is getting wider and even developed. So for this, the students, like I can see, if I can give the example, some of my students really love working on digital tools. Some of them really love making something on the motion graphics, and then they can create a unique video graphics that can move, different images, different icons, and that's very interesting for the students. So assessment, something that not really make them stressful, but sometimes enjoy. They can enjoy, and also we can see the result that is authentic as well. For the Classic, the Classic is very useful for me because I can see the different phase of each students in a class, but then they work on it, and then we can also mark at that time, in real time. So, and then Quizlet is common, yeah, the same thing like quizzes as well. Kahoot, we can use that as an assessment as well in digital tools. And then the second one is real world. How we can connect the assessment to the real world. For examples, build a diorama, read an essay. So they can write an essay about what they have learned, and then make connection to the real world, or to the environment, or to the what is it? The experience they have in a real life. And then they can also asking good questions, or they create a question that we can accept all the questions, and then can also find the answers together. And then the teacher can also work on the questions to assess, yeah, and then after that, because the students already know about the question they made, they have learned, they find the answer, and they don't really need to memorize, but at least by making them trying to create questions, they also can aware what they really want to learn from the questions. And then the next one is collaboration on tests. So sometimes the test, it doesn't have to be individual. Sometimes they also can work in a group. For example, write a song, perform a group dance, group collaboration, and research in group. It will have different criteria, but then the criteria will be assessed individually, depend on how hard they work together as a team, how they can collaborate well, and how can they engage with the subject in a group. And then the last one, various options. So the teacher will facilitate the students with various options of assessments. For example, it can be oral or written presentation, because not every student is convenient with oral presentation. For example, they don't really speak too much. They don't really like standing in front of the class. So they can choose by written presentation. They can write, or they can make what is it? Storybook, something like that. And the role playing, it's like they can choose a character, or they can make some short skits to do this role playing together with their friends. And then individual project. So they can also choose individual project based on their skills, based on their interests, and then they can also choose whatever that is really really that is the passion of the students. So sometimes if they work on their passion, they will really work hard, and then we can see the result. And it based on my experience in class, I have such a very good example. The students love to draw. The students love to design something, and then they really want to make a product of what they have, of their skills, their drawing skills, and then it comes up in a very good product. So he made the story with his illustration, and the story was amazing. So this is why differentiated assessment is very important, because we are giving. And then the last one, differentiated assessment support for C. For example, critical thinking. It will make students think critically, and then they will find more about something to find, or something to learn. And then it can also make them as an effective communicator, because they really understand what they have learned. They know what to do. They can achieve the learning goals, so they can communicate what they have learned to the environment or to the society. Creative, because because the teachers facilitate them with different choices of assessment, so they can think, oh, I like to write, oh, I like to speak. So they can think creatively to show the learning by using any tools, using any media, or using any method that can give them self-reflection, but fun, and give a lot of passion on it. So that can make them creative. And then the last one is collaborator. Collaborator means how they can work together as a team, how they can make a good relationship between each other. And then also it will give teachers an easy way to see whether it is comfortable for them to work in a group or individual. So at the same time, they can create their own environment for assessment that is comfortable for them. And then at the same time, they can also be a very good communicator, because they can collaborate with each other. So these are the resources that I have from many sources, very useful. I guess that's all, Pak Widi, Mr. Widi. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm sorry for all the...
Yeah. Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh, that's all very, very interesting for us. Thank you for Miss Fika. Yeah, we have any such as we have to question maybe from this chat. I have to question. Would you like to answer one by one or two in one?
Maybe we
one
try
question
one
and
by
one.
one. Yeah, one question first.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Vika. Yeah, for the first question, this is from a man. Yeah, he said, I want to know how to apply differentiated assessment, especially at senior high school. He said that he loved interested with classic. Yeah. Want to know about the classic, Miss? Could you please tell us what classic is?
Thank you so much. Sure, yeah. Let me pause first and then I will show you the classic. Thank you so much for the questions. So yes, I have used classic for several times and it's very useful. Okay, let me go to the website.
All right, definitely.
Yeah, so this is the classic. I've been using this since pandemic and it's very useful. So I just give you the explanation at a glance. Yeah, just a short, brief explanation about classic. So this is assessment that we can use, but it has to be PDF. So for example, if you have designed the assessment, the test, this is paper test, yeah. But if you want the students to do it digitally, so they have to go to this website, plastic.com. Okay. Like to give this as an example. So this is what will it look like. I have so many. So I will just click the one that I had before. This is just an example. So I had the webinar last time with the title of maximizing classic for assessment as well. So this is for example. If this is the main page for the teacher for the test paper, but if you want to see the students' work, you can just click on the view work like this. And this is very suitable for secondary students, yeah, high school or junior high school. So for example, the student A is this one, student B in here, and so on. So we can see all of the students' work here, and we can see where do they up to, whether they are up to page 1 or they finish. If they finish, they don't need to save. They don't need to do anything. They just close the tab. So that is why it's very easy to use. So after you create this classic, and you can see, you can just give feedback, for example, like this. So if the students have done with the test, we can just give the point. For example, this is 5 out of 5 points, that the highest point. It means he get all correct. Or we want to note, we want to annotate, for example, we can use the highlighter mode and we can just highlight the word, for example, that is not correct. Example like that. So this is about classic and it's very useful. You only need to go to classic.com and then create a new account. After that, you can create your own test paper first. After that, you have to change the format into PDF and upload it. It's very easy, and the tutorial is also in the internet as well. I can share you the link maybe after this seminar. And then the part that is not really that I don't really like is because I can only have 10 tests. After that, I can't make another one. So that's why sometimes I have to delete the test that I don't use anymore, maybe for last year or last 2 years, and I delete and I make a new one. So that's the what is it? The minus and the plus benefit that when we use classic. But overall, classic is very good. And even if we can have premium one, it will be good. Yeah? If the school support the teacher and then the school buy classic as premium, it will be good. So maybe that's the brief explanation about classic, Mr. Widi.
All right, thanks very much for the example. And then we have learned so many things that's material on your seminar. So for the second one, Miss, could you please answer for the second? Yeah. And here from the teacher at I'm sorry, it means from teacher at school special need, or we called sekolah luar biasa in bahasa maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it okay if we use assessment for them?
Thank you so much for the question. Yes. Well, I have one students, with supported learning needs. Yes, we have the assessment, but in my experience, based on my experience with these special students, we have special person as well that guide her. So we collaborate with her teacher, or we have the psychologist as well that really know how to communicate with the students that has learning support, special learning support. So that is why the assessment, the teacher really cannot have the school standard, academic standard, but she has different standard, and that standard will be modified with the subject that she or he learned. Of course, yes, we can assess. That's very possible because these students has also talent, has also interest, and this student must have something that she can share as well. So she can share, or she can also present her learning outcomes through many kinds of assessment. The one that I have shown here, she can also use, if she is better in writing, she can use writing. If she is good in oral, she can also do the oral presentation or individual project. So by this differentiated assessment, it allows the special needs students to have assessment based on her level. That's really will give her benefit as well to see the progress and improvement for each time. I guess that's based on my experience. I hope that helped.
All right, Miss. I'm really sorry, how to say, I have many experience from your presentation, Miss. You are
Thank you.
very great in your subject maybe. Nah, this is, oh sorry. It's enough maybe, Miss. We just have two questions. So this is the end of our seminar. Thank you very much, everyone. This is the conclusion for today. Every teacher has their power. Assessment, choose it wisely for every teacher because it depends the condition. We have many students that differences and such as like maybe they have talented and then so many things that we have dig it as a teachers. Yeah. Thank you very much everyone. See you on the next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Pak Mr. Widi.